Welcome to the Cincy Postcast presented by LASIK.com, where better vision equals better calls. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I get to tell you about our dear friends, Streetside Brewery, which, hey, you know all about Streetside. If you came out to our live show ahead of Hell is Real, it was a great time. I appreciate everybody dealing with the ridiculous trivia games that I came up with. I hope everybody enjoyed the fabulous prizes that we raffled away. It was a good time. People seem to be laughing at mostly the appropriate parts. I only got booed by my children twice, so it was a good time. And Streetside made that possible. Streetside Brewery, an amazing local brewery here right in Cincinnati, in the Columbia Tusculum-ish neighborhood of Cincinnati. They are brewing some fantastic beers. Their tap list is so fun to explore because they are truly a jack of all trades when it comes to beers. They've got every type that you may want. They've got the boring stuff if you're into that. I had a delicious Mexican lager, a nice cerveza that was on tap, served with a lime. They also had some incredible New England IPAs on tap that people were drinking. It was a lovely, lovely experience. They do it right, and they regularly have different events there. It is my favorite place to watch FC Cincinnati games. So as the team goes on the road again against Atlanta, give Streetside a shout, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So a huge thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this episode and so many others. And thank you, everybody, for coming out to that live show. Now, on today's episode, it's an exciting one. It is a Hell is Real draw. That's right. It was a draw. The dreaded 1-to-1 soccer draw. However, this game has so much in it. There's so much to unpack. Truly a Rorschach test of a match. Was this a good result? Was this a bad result? Did the team perform well? Did the team perform poorly? How should you feel leaving this result? We dive into all of that. In part 2, we tackle the difficult questions like, hey, what happened to our YouTube channel? And how do you follow a team or a league that does not have a team or a league in Cincinnati? We dive into so much in this episode. I think you are truly going to love a post Hell is Real postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, I am joined by the one and only Chief. Chief, how was your Sunday today?
Oh, it was glorious. I woke up today, fresh off the experience of watching that game last night, fresh off the live show. We still are +1 in the Chief household as we continue to dog sit my in-laws' dog while they're overseas, and he's a little terrorist. I've talked about a little bit about what he's put us through on the X, the everything app. It's all happening on X. But it was play a little golf.
Nice.
Things always hit better. I don't want to say the day after a win, the day after a not loss in the rivalry game, which I think that's a very important distinction. It doesn't matter if you win your rivalry game. You just really have to not lose your rivalry game. How was your Sunday?
Oh, it was lovely. Started off the day talking to somebody's father on the radio. Always a good time.
Everybody's somebody's son, everybody's somebody's daughter.
Was able to watch my son play a little soccer, and then built some new patio furniture.
Hey.
So the backyard's looking fresh. Loving the new backyard setup we got there. So yeah, kind of a perfect Sunday as well. The weather, my goodness. The weather has been so good the last 2 days.
Yeah, no, it would have been a perfect night for Hell is Real if they would have had it in Cincinnati, but alas, they got the good weather for rivalry week. Maybe when it's a little Little warmer out. We'll do better too. I don't know. It's I'm glad we get a little bit of a spring though. And that's the important part here. I'm glad that we're enjoying this nice weather. I'm glad that, we did. Again, I can't stress this enough. I am so happy that we did not lose this match and completely ruin the day and the vibes. You wake up after a loss.
Yes.
It just sucks. Like, I don't want to consume any content about the team. I don't want to log on to the Discord. I don't want to log on to the Bird app. Galaxy just scored on LAFC.
Oh boy.
Boy. They got that new manager contract bump right there. It was an awful goal too. It was really just a chaos energy goal. Like, waking up after a not loss rules.
Yeah.
But what's funny about it too is I wish Grayson was here. Unfortunately, he's decided seeing Jim Gaffigan was more fun than talking to the audience after Hell Is Real. It was exactly the game that Grayson craves. It is.
Yes.
It's the result was fine. The process by which the result was achieved leaves a lot to be discussed. I don't want to say it's all good, all bad. It's just, it opens a lot of conversation topics, which if you're going to join a local media person on the radio in the morning, great fodder for that. If you host a podcast, great fodder for that. If you're running a Discord or a message board, great fodder for that too. If you're not going to win, this is probably the next best outcome in terms of generating page clicks somewhere. The Inquirer is missing out.
Pat Brennan would be feasting right now. Just a milquetoast hot take would set the world aflame right now from the Inquirer. That's the thing about last night is basically, if you wanted to come away from that game feeling like the team is still out of sorts, out of sync, got lucky, absolutely. There's a ton of evidence for you to make that case. If you even want to say that Pat Noonan is, not living up to his end of the bargain, I think there's enough evidence there. But also, if you wanted to say that this is a damn good team that continues to get really good results that not everybody in the league can go into lower.com/net/info field and get a result. I mean, it's incredible. Kevin Denke looked amazing. We might have the best defense in the league, and I know the stats won't bear that out, but it passes the eye test, I'll tell you that much. I think there's a lot to discuss here. I think that there is a lot to justify your preconceived notions and even hopes, thoughts, feelings, desires for the future can be justified in looking at the results.
So I've been thinking about this all day. So if this were the Bengals, the narrative around a performance like yesterday, or not the narrative, I don't want to talk about the narrative. Like, we'll get to the narrative here in a second, but the days after a performance like that would be filled with a lot of, we're going to break footage down. We're going to go to the telestrator and show where things were good, where things were bad. There would be some analysis of where the problems were that prevented a win, where the good things were that prevented a loss. And if there has ever been, maybe I'm alone on this. I want your feedback on this. This FC Cincinnati team and the way it's played and the results and how it's gotten to the results seem to me to be crying out and like a good test case, I don't know, for why we don't have more of a discussion in this country and in the soccer media in this country about tactics and patterns of play and process.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really, really missing. And I feel for this FC Cincinnati team in particular, it makes the conversation about this team harder and the narratives harder to form because we just don't have that resource. Like I said, if it was the Bengals, the debate would all be framed around, okay, we're going to break this play down. And look, here's where the left tackle loses on a pass rush game to the defensive end. Burrow is flushed out of the pocket. This happens over and over again. This is what the defense was doing. Or all game, they were double too high over to stop Jamar Chase from getting deep. That's where Gesicki has to win underneath, or where you need to start having, some more routes that are shorter developing routes in order to combat the fact they're not letting you get over the top. Where are the zone beaters? Where are the too high beaters? And with soccer in this country, with MLS in particular, there's not a great source of people that do that on a regular basis. And so a lot of the things that we feel when we watch these games, we never get that analysis that allows us to form opinions more than just, hey, I watched this and this is what it looked like to me. I'm wishing today, and I'm wishing Monday, there was that show that you could tune into, like an Inside the NFL or NFL matchup that was like, hey, we're going to break this game down and we're going to explain to you why FC Cincinnati could not possess the ball for more than 15 seconds in the second half of this game. And tell me why. From an informed point of view. I wish that existed somewhere, and I wish that there was, and I know there's pockets of that in places. I know that, they do talking tactics on CST a little bit, but man, I'm craving, and I wish there was an MLS show on Apple TV or wherever where I could sit and listen to smart people tell me what it is that I'm seeing or not seeing with my own two eyes. Am I making sense on this at all?
Yeah, I think you are making sense. So here's what we do have in American soccer, in particular with MLS, is you have a lot of people describing it. So you have a lot of people talking about it on podcasts. You have a lot of people writing about it. You have a lot of people even posting about it on your microblogging site of choice, right? The problem is we don't have exactly what you're talking about, which is like literally a telestrator. And screenshots are fine, but they can be incredibly misleading. Alan Koch has taught us they're actually very easy to manipulate.
Yeah, with a good Photoshop, with an Adobe account, you can make it say anything you want. Oh, Bouanga just with a monster goal. Wow. Sorry, you're going to get live updates on El Trafico on this entire time, too.
Galaxy should not have scored so early. They have made LAFC mad. So I think what we are missing is exactly what you're talking about, which is like literally somebody with a telestrator explaining what's going on individual plays and then extrapolating that out, because I can sit back and talk about the vibes and I can even tell you generally what I think is happening tactically, but I'm not great at this by any means. And I'm also not describing it to one of our 12 listeners here with any visual aid to be able to better explain that. So, yeah, Columbus played with a very high press, an absurdly aggressive high press. But what do you like? I can tell you that, but like, I don't know if somebody is necessarily going to comprehend it. I don't know if they can then I can't pick out. Okay, so in this play in the 45th minute, they beat it here, and this is where the weak spot was, and they kept attacking this, but Columbus made this adjustment. Like, even if I had all of that laid out in front of you, I think doing it without the visual aid is kind of useless. So I agree. I think somebody, an enterprising individual getting on YouTube, being able to do this would be very fruitful, I think.
Or somebody like the league. There should be a show like this. Like, they have an Apple TV channel. Like, there should be a tactics show, and there should be something that allows you to make an informed decision about what is going on in these games, because this game in particular, really, you talked about earlier when we first started off about this game was you could see a lot of different things in this game depending on what you want to think coming out of it. But I think that no matter what your ultimate takeaway was, I think what you ended up seeing in this game was you saw two very different styles of play.
Yeah.
And my main takeaway was very similar to yours. FC Cincinnati has an incredible defense.
Yeah.
They probably, right at this moment, Columbus is an open DP spot, so this might not be the case forever.
Yeah.
But at this moment, FC Cincinnati has top-end talent that doesn't exist on the Columbus roster right now. Like, they don't have a Kevin Denke. They just don't. I don't think any team in MLS has a Kevin Denke. That's a different story. But you saw one team that has a true offensive identity where there are patterns of play that you can see and you can watch emerge, and you can see the way the offense flows, the way the ball moves, the energy with which they play on offense. And the thing that I took away, and this was my top end takeaway from the game, was that one of these teams looks like a team that we will have, but this looks like a team that we will have to figure out how to beat if we want to win MLS Cup. And that style of play, I would much rather have that style of play going into a cup tournament than what we have. That looks like something that I think is soccer that wins anywhere. I don't know that I can say the same about what we're doing when it comes to playing the best of the best types of teams.
But see, this is where this becomes like the true Rorschach test, because my takeaway was, my God, we've already fixed and solved the defense. It's a set, done product. And this is a team with Nick Hagglund starting at center back. And we're talking about a team that withstood the Columbus crew.
I don't want to say this is a team start with Nick Hagglund starting at center back. Nick Hagglund, like, they gave him the super soldier serum. I don't care if he got the Soviet version or the Bucky Barnes version or the Captain America version. Whatever they did during his recovery, someone should publish a paper on that and make money. Like,
he is legitimately faster now.
He looks like a better player. Like, I don't think I have ever seen Nick Hagglund play this well. I'm genuinely concerned about what he did and whether or not I don't know if they do this in MLS, but whether or not, like, if he has to take a pee test, I'm concerned he might melt the cup at this point because there's something going on there.
But I think that this is a team that has an incredibly stout defense, that Columbus, with all of their attacking flair and total football acumen, were unable to break them down. And it took a fluke handball from the aforementioned Mr. Hagglund to give them a chance at scoring a goal. And they got and took that chance. But that we have two of the most talented players in the league. I'd even argue the two most talented players in the league in Evander and Denke. And I don't even necessarily need them to gel or get better. I just need them to sort of sort this out, whatever this is, by the end of the year. Because, as every high school football, cross country, soccer, water polo team's t-shirt says, defense wins championships. Okay. So check that box off. High end talent for a DP to take over a game. We got that one too. You just need like 5% more. I don't even know where necessarily. Just need 5% more somewhere.
I'm going to read you some numbers, Kevin.
Please.
Ball possession.
Yes.
68-32, Columbus.
Sure.
XG, 2.88 to 0.87, Columbus. Okay. Total shots, 16-10, Columbus. Shots on target, 6-3, Columbus. Big chances, 6-1, Columbus. Accurate passes, 569 to 229, Columbus.
Oof.
Accuracy rate, 89% to Columbus, 77% FC Cincinnati. XG from open play, 1.1 to 0.75. Set play, not 0.99 to 0.12. Penalty is whatever. Passes in the own half, 192 to 126. Accuracy, 93 to 85. Opposition half, 377 to 103. Accuracy for Columbus, 82%. For FC Cincinnati, 64%. Passes in the final third, 208-57.
Love that one.
Look,
but here's the thing.
No, there is no game. Nobody won
exactly.
Nobody won this game.
Give them more shots. Give them more passes. They're not beating this team.
Hold on. If they played this game 10 times, do you think FC Cincinnati would win more than Columbus would?
Here's the thing. We don't
honestly
have to play it.
No,
we
I
don't
want
have
your
to
honest.
play
I
it
want
10 times.
10 times. They played 10 times. How many of those 10 do you think FC Cincinnati is winning?
At least 4. Like this
There's
game,
no chance. There's no chance, man. There's no chance.
Absolutely. All it takes is a freak foul from 35 yards out, and all of a sudden, Evander's got a coin flip chance of winning this game. Like, Evander damn near put in an Olympico. Like, the talent that we have with Denke and Evander is so immense.
They're incredible. They're incredible. No one's arguing that. No one is arguing that Denke and Evander aren't incredible.
But look at what Columbus needed. And then I ask you this. What was there off the top of your head? Do you even remember a big chance or oh my God, we really got away with that one moment in this game?
There's like a couple great Roman saves. There was one where Roman, it was like a fingertip save at a point blank chance. There was another one that was a dead in front of goal chance that just got skied. Like they were getting into dangerous positions the entire game. And it's just,
you got a better memory than me. I can't remember a great moment.
No. And I'm trying to be objective here.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to hold 2 thoughts in my head.
Yeah.
And that's that I understand that there's a bias here for me. And the bias is this. I would much rather FC Cincinnati look like that. That looks like such a fun team to root for. Right. That looks like a fun team to watch. Like that looks like that's more fun. Look, don't get me wrong. Denke doing incredible things like scoring goals, bicycles, and just rockets from Evander. That's fun in moments, but like it's individual moments of brilliance punctuate long stretches of what in God's name are we doing? I don't know. And that's my bias. My bias is that I watch Columbus play and I'm envious of the way they play with the ball. And it looks like so much fun. It looks like what I imagine soccer should look like. It looks like the platonic ideal of soccer. And that colors my entire opinion of watching these 2 teams play. One team looks like they're coming to have a rock fight. The other one looks like they're coming to actually play the sport. And I wish we looked more like the team that's coming to play the sport.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that? Like that looks like what they play like is so much fun. That looks like so much fun to watch. It's like, and it's little things too. It's that every time a Columbus player has the ball, there is someone available to take the next pass, to receive the next pass. There is always someone moving. If someone has the ball down in the corner, in the final third, someone's making an overlapping run to receive the next pass, or someone is making a run into the box to receive the next pass. You rarely see just one Columbus player with the ball. There's always a second player. It's like the Sith. There's always 2. There's a guy holding the ball and a guy that's about to receive the ball. And that seems like such a simple concept that it makes me want to throw something at the television and say, why doesn't Pat Noonan do this? Like, why doesn't their offense have this simple idea of, if you see your teammate with the ball, go be available to take the pass from him. Like, go make a run and go help him out. Don't like sit there and say, oh, well, Luka will beat him on the dribble. Go get the ball. Go be proactive. Like, let the offense flow. And then even in the sequences of play where we'd be on the break, there's so many guys on this team that just want to be the hero. And it's like, I'm going to keep dribbling when you're screaming, make the pass, make the next pass, make the next pass. You make the next pass, the defense has to do something different. And then maybe there's an option for the next pass, but instead people just dribble into trouble. And I watch all this and I hear the post-game quotes from Noonan, and it's the same quote after every game. We just need to get better at doing this. We need to get better at the simple things. We didn't play our best. And at some point, I'm like, well, whose job is it to fix this? Like,
what
I want somebody
doing?
to ask. I want someone to ask the follow-up question in the press conference. It's like every week you come here and you say, we didn't play our best, or we didn't make the simple pass, or we're doing too much. What are you doing to fix this? You're the coach. The buck stops with you. In detail, tell us, what will you be doing in training this week to make things better? Like, I don't think that's a heavy ask right here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the one time where we have heard from a player that they have a teammate that they feel like that they are on a subconscious level with, that they can make those passes, that they know how to find each other in space. The second that is announced publicly, they are not allowed to play together.
Well, I mean, Dotto did start the next game afterwards, so I think
he
that's
did, but he didn't.
That's...
didn't appear in this game, which I thought was interesting. But Chief, you make a good point. You know, lay out the platonic ideal of the sport of soccer, and absolutely that the Columbus team looks beautiful when it is up and running. And yet, a quick glance at the MLS Eastern Conference standings would see them behind FC Cincinnati. That all of that beautiful, intricate play was unable to beat FC Cincinnati. And while they, I'm sure, score lots of goals, they've only scored 3 more than us. And granted, that's more, but it's not like they're zooming past us on the goal scoring record there. So I hate to go back to the MLS Drive for Survive series, but Pat Noonan had a quote, which was, "Score your goals, motherfucker, before you start yelling at everybody else to score theirs." It's like, at the end of the day, you just gotta do the thing. And we're not doing the thing perfectly, absolutely. But as much as we may look at what Columbus is doing, it's impossible to argue that what they're doing is better, at least not right now. And Chief, I think I can sell you this. I think I can sell you on this idea. There was an individual out there in the world of soccer who played this style, who was much bemoaned by the rest of the world, but to his fans,
don't you dare.
His fans, they knew he was always good for winning silverware, for bringing home trophies. That's right. Pat Noonan is Jose Mourinho.
Don't you dare. Don't you
I'll
dare.
invoke the name.
Don't you invoke the special one to me. Don't you dare. He has Jose Mourinho's disposition, too, if we're being honest.
He really does. He just needs a little more, like, refer to himself in the third person.
Right.
And he's there.
He needs to throw his players under the bus just a little bit more, too, I think. Like, there needs to be a lot more blame. Like, the difference between Pat Noonan and Jose is, after one of these press conferences, Jose would absolutely say, "I can only tell them what the right thing to do is. I cannot make them do the right thing."
I think that's the difference between Jose was maybe a 4th division goalkeeper, and Pat Noonan having actually played at a fairly high level.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes the most direct option is not the best option. Yeah. I don't know. Kevin, let's start with the lineups. We're a little overdue for that. We can talk a little bit more about this, I think.
We are, and very exciting. We got to announce the lineup at the live show. So thank you to everybody who came on out to Streetside. This was a good time. If you missed that show, you are not entirely out of luck. I am going to post it on the Patreon, probably at about the time that this one is posted. So you can relive the moment where we learned about the lineup in person, in real time. It was very fun. We did a really fun call and response with the audience, trying to replicate our best TQL Stadium environment there. But the lineup, as I'm going to read it here, is Roman Celentano was in goal. Lucas Angle was the left wing back. It was Miles Robinson, Matt Miazga, Nick Hagland along the back line with Luca Orishano. I keep doing that. Luca Orishano is the right wing back. Wobodo and Buka in the midfield, along with Evander and Denke and Santos up top. Wobodo starts in the midfield, Chief, fresh off the highly controversial, basically only for you, I think, contract extension. How are you feeling about this lineup when it came out?
I was surprised a little bit just because, and we talked about it on the live show a little bit, and that's that if there is one thing that appears to usually be the case with Pat Noonan, and that is if you don't train all week, it's usually very unlikely that you start.
Right.
And in this case, Luca Orishano had a knock that he was reported. He hadn't trained for most of the week. He didn't play last week. I don't think he was even available last weekend.
Did not travel the midweek, to Toronto.
Midweek game against Toronto. He did not play the midweek game against Toronto. Same goes for Obina Wobodo. He did not, train. He did not appear in the Wednesday game as well. So I had thought that those two would be players that were available off the bench. Glad to see they're back. I don't know. Did Miazga didn't play the Tuesday game either, did he? Or the Wednesday game either, did he? I don't believe so.
For somebody who has a FC Cincinnati podcast, you think I'd know these things?
Well, you'd think we would research these things before. I'm 90% certain without looking at.
He did not start and did not sub into the game. Correct.
Yeah. So there were quite a few players where I was surprised that they were part of the starting 11 just because of the Pat Noonan's tradition with training.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, that was a little bit of a surprise. Otherwise, for better or worse, I think that Pat wants to play with a defensive six.
Yeah.
I don't think that's smart. I think it limits the offense tremendously. And I think that we saw what the limits are of that in this match, where Columbus just, again, like many of the other teams we face, overwhelms the midfield with this play style. So am I surprised with the lineup? There wasn't really a surprise to me that we played that way. I just wish we wouldn't. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah. What's funny about Wobodo is he does typically have good passing stats. Now, the criticism or the critique is that they're not usually forward. And that is the case in this case, where he had 92% passing accuracy. What I find very curious, and it did sort of bear out with how the game went. Now, granted, he only plays the first half, right? So he starts and he subs out in the first half. He only attempted 13 passes, touched the ball 22 times. That's not a lot going on there. Buka, certainly played longer, right? But 31 passes and where am I looking at this? 31 passes and 47 touches. So I don't know, a little more involved. Yeah, I would have rather have seen Kubo there.
Yeah.
And the defense is good. The defense is fine. Leave them alone. Get a little more oomph in the midfield. Somebody who can connect some passes, somebody who can take on defenders, somebody that the opposing team's midfield has to respect as an offensive threat. We've seen that with Orishano. We see that a little bit with Lucas Angle. When the other team has to respect them, they are on their back heels a little bit. And we might have seen Columbus back off on their press a little bit there. They were not scared by Santos at all. No. I find that very funny.
Santos has lost a step. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
he's not fast anymore.
He does not look like he has the ability to take the top off a defense. Like, if that was his reputation at one point, sure. Father time or whatever it is has caught up with him. He does not look, and that's not to say he played a bad game. I thought Santos played a very effective first half. Like we commented at the live show or with people that I was watching with, that it looks like he was told you're only going 45 today, make the most of it and expend all your energy in the first half. But he was lively. He was all around. He was doing a lot of good off the ball work, a lot of good runs, a lot of good passes. My problem, and this is like, you said everyone was happy that Obi got a contract extension except me. I'm
a little facetious.
Right. There's now a narrative out there that I am an Obi hater. Nothing could be further from the truth. I love Obi. I think Obi is a very, very good player. I think what he did for this FC Cincinnati team, he was an immeasurable part of the success of this team. And I don't
Yes.
think that we win Supporters Shield without him. I don't think this team settles into the cadence of quality without him.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think Obi is a product. The necessity of Obi is a product of an era when we did not have 3, 4, 5 elite options at center back.
Yeah.
All of whom were very athletic, very involved in stepping up to stop play, disrupt play, that are good at tracking back, blocking shots, defeating crosses. I just, and it's not, you mentioned the passing stats with Obi too.
Yeah.
If there's one takeaway that I want to have from this Columbus game and watching this game, it's that bad passing or passing issues are as much a function of where the receiver of the ball is as they are the person making the pass. And where Obi and Anunga struggle is they don't want to get forward enough to make themselves available for the next pass or to create the space for the next pass. And so if they don't do that, then what you see happen is that the next pass goes backwards, back to the center back, recycled. Yeah. And when that happens, it allows Columbus's defense to step up and step forward. And now the line of engagement has moved further up the field into the FC Cincinnati defensive third. And then if a pass goes awry or a tackle is made or a deflection gets made, now Columbus is resetting their offense in FC Cincinnati's half. Yeah. And so I just think that with the way we're playing with 3 center backs that are all elite, I want that other player in the midfield to be someone who is willing to make themselves available and find space in more advanced positions to allow the attack to continue to build versus being an option that is lateral or behind the run of play. And that's where I think, I don't think Obi is a solution for this team any longer. And he contributes to the issue of this team getting overwhelmed and having difficulty playing through opposing press and opposing midfields. And so I don't hate Obi, far from it. I just don't think that this personnel lineup that we're fielding benefits from Obi's skill set. And I think that what he lacks hurts this team a lot on offense.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think there's a world where we move to like a 4-4-2 diamond and Obi's at the base of that diamond and he's incredible. That's where he really shines, is his ability to win the ball, win tackles, break up plays. His superpower is being able to win the ball and then immediately beat that player on the first time dribble and then find an outlet for the pass. And it just, for whatever reason, with the way this team is set up right now, that just isn't happening as quickly, as fast as it was when maybe the option was win the ball, find Lucho. Win the ball, find Lucho.
Right.
And that was working great because Lucho would always be near him screaming for the ball. And Evander isn't quite playing that way. Teams know to cover Buka because he's such a threat in those moments. And he's on an island a little bit more, and it's just not working as well. So yeah, again, go back to a back 4 and he's at the base of a diamond or something like that. I think he'd be incredible. Put, say, Buka and Kubo right ahead of him and Evander ahead of them, and all of a sudden you got something cooking. But right now, it's just it's too much empty space in the midfield for him to be as effective there, and he's not as necessary because we've seen the center backs and the 3 center back setup have the freedom to go forward. We saw Nick Haggum with a little Alvis Powell energy in this game as well, where these guys are allowed to venture forward, which again just sort of makes me wonder what's the purpose of Obi's skill set here in this midfield if you're going to let Miazga or Robinson run forward as well and hit those moments there. So
and the part know. And it's again, I don't, I feel like I sound like a broken record on this, and I've talked about it for a while. And I said it wouldn't bother me so much, except that when this team gets the ball to Kevin Denke in the 18-yard box, so much cool stuff happens.
Yes.
And to me, everything I do, every single thing I'm doing as a coach for this team would be with the purpose of what can I do to get the ball to Kevin Denke in dangerous positions. And in this game, he really has maybe one opportunity, maybe two opportunities. The one that I recall is the one that he scores on. And that's all he needs. He needs one opportunity to score a ball and score a goal that sets this game, completely takes the crowd out of this game for a huge portion of it, enables FC Cincinnati to start to defend a little bit more, which is what they came in wanting to do. He doesn't need a ton of service, but he needs some service. And I wish we were doing more and we had more players that were on the field that had the idea of getting him touches in the final third.
Yeah. It would be very useful.
Four total touches in the opponent's opposition box. That's it.
It's got to be more.
33 touches total. This guy is magic when you get the ball to him. He is magic. I just need. And if Obi can't help getting him the ball, I don't see the point of Obi. I don't see what he brings to this team. Yeah. I'm sorry. Anything he adds on defense is taken away by the fact that he's not helping get the ball to Kevin Denke.
Yeah, and I think most fans would say in the sort of stat allocation here, let's take a couple of points away from defense and add a couple more points to offense or midfield connectivity and see what we have. Because if we can win more games 3-1 versus 1-0, one, that's a more entertaining product, and two, you do trust it to be a little more repeatable, or you trust yourself to win 2-1,
right,
or 1-1 from time to time, instead of just, if we don't win 1-0, we're gonna settle for a 1-1 draw.
And not only that too, it's the defense held strong in this game.
Yeah,
they didn't allow a goal from the run of open play, but I would argue that part of the reason why Columbus is able to score and get a point out of this is precisely because of the numbers that I was talking about earlier. They have, what did I say? I gotta look this up again. I had it in front of me.
Like 1 million passes in our
passes
app.
In the final third. 208. If you have 208 passes in the final third, every one of those passes in the final third, and especially the ones that go into the 18-yard box, every one of those passes has a chance to hit a defender in the wrong spot, queue up onto the arm, or cause someone to make a stupid challenge trying to win the ball and lead to a penalty. Like every one of those passes, even if you think it's like every pass into the 18-yard box has like a 0.0001% chance of drawing a PK. If you hit 200 of them, then your odds of drawing a PK in a game are probably pretty high.
That's a good point, especially with pro referees. You never know what's going to happen.
People are awful at refereeing games. Like if you just keep passing the ball into the box, even if you're passing it at someone, eventually it's going to knock off an arm or something like that, and you're going to get your goal. And that's exactly what Columbus did in this game.
Yeah, it's wild to think. FC Cincinnati accurate passes 229. So we completed almost as many, a little more passes than they completed in our, would you say, in our own third? In
final
our
third. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. And, you know, it did take a lucky bounce to get there. We've talked about it briefly there. Let's go back to it since chronologically it happens first. We got to talk about the goal. It has a really cool moment and a very funny quote after the game. It starts off with, and again, Chief, we were right. Orishano dribbling in from the right side into the box. He draws in 2-3 defenders that immediately collapse in on him. He wins the dribble, gets the ball out to Evander, to Santos. Santos is struggling with the ball against the defender, heads the ball back to Evander. Evander tries a bicycle kick.
They're all trying it now. It's the cool thing people do, apparently.
The ball just floats perfectly into the path of Kevin Denke, who swipes at it with his right foot into the goal at about mid height level, right at his thighs. It's a tricky angle. He does well to get it into the goal. Schulte is not really going to be able to do much there. And FC Cincinnati is up 1-0. Afterwards, Evander admitted he was shooting. He was.
Of course he was.
He was not trying to pass that ball, but he was very happy that it played out the way that it did. Kevin Denke scores. And yeah, the bicycle assist is dope as hell.
It's dope. I think that what I love most about it is that it had, from the angle he was doing that at, it had absolutely no chance of ever going in.
Yes.
I love tremendously that Denke gets this, and it's almost like a quick one reaction type thing in order to score this right there. He's at a tough angle for it, but it's a single. First takes it off the bounce on the volley, past the keeper, past the defender that's also guarding the post right there. Again, magic happens when the ball finds itself at the feet of Kevin Denke, and they should be doing more in all instances to get him the ball.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about this goal to me too is this goal just typifies for me the difference between Wilfried Nancy and Pat Noonan's philosophy when it comes to offense, or at the very least, it underscores the different. I don't even know if this is what the team's being coached to do. I don't know, but like this is what I see. So you watch this play develop right here. Yeah. And if you want to watch along with how I'm describing this, it's great because the clip that's uploaded to FC Cincinnati's socials starts in the exact right position to see this. The ball is at the feet of Luca Orishano, and there are, by the time he starts to dribble and make moves, there are 3 defenders that are on him. There's one that's directly, there's 2 that are in trail position. And if you look right there at this, there is not a single FC Cincinnati player that is making himself available for a pass. Yep. And what the offense is asking Luca Orishano to do is you have to beat this man one-on-one. That's what we need you to do. We need you to beat this man one-on-one. There is no opportunity for you to pass to someone that's making a run or to offload to someone that's in a better position. No one is over there to draw a defender away by making a run to clear space. It's just Luca Orishano in a 1v1 situation. He either beats his man or he doesn't. And then you watch Columbus play in these exact same situations. There is always a second man there where an easy pass can be made that keeps the play alive. Now, in this case, Luca does an incredible job of beating his man right here because Luca is just a supreme talent. Yes. But like, I can't believe that that's what the team's being asked to do is, all right, we're going to get the ball to Luca here. Do something magical. And that's the only option. There's no 1B.
I'm going to offer up some evidence as to why that might actually be what they are being coached to do. As you are watching this clip, I want you to look at the top of the box and you will find one Pavel Buka. And I want you to just watch Pavel through the entire highlight.
He's standing there.
He is not doing anything. Now, maybe Buka has forgotten that he is playing in this game and has decided to watch the chaos unfold in front of him. But I'm inclined to believe that he is being told to stand on that line and wait to either get the rebound or maybe receive a pass. But he is in no way, shape, or form an active participant in what is going on in the attack.
All right, so you're smarter than I am.
I
explain
disagree,
to me.
But continue.
Explain to me what's the offensive theory here.
It may very well be Evander, Orishano, Denke, Santos. You are better, more talented than these guys. You have been playing soccer your entire lives. Score a goal. You are in position to score a goal. Get the ball, score a goal. I don't care what it is. You guys figure it out. You know how to beat these guys. You can out dribble them. You can outshoot them. You can out muscle them in the air. You're faster. You're bigger. You're stronger. You've got more talent. Get the ball, score a goal. And that might literally be the instruction. And it's just reps and reps and reps. And eventually you build it to where Lucho Acosta is able to use Junior Moreno's head as a backboard on your way to scoring against Atlanta United. Like, maybe this is literally we need one season of reps with these guys, because that's all the instruction they're being given.
It just reminds me a little bit of, and again, to go back to, football, American football.
Yes.
It reminds me of the difference between like a Zach Taylor offense and a Sean McVay offense.
Yes.
Whereas a Sean McVay offense, they are actively doing things to scheme guys open. Like, we are going to do this, this, and this. And as a result, this player will come wide open on a deep crossing route because we have already pulled all of the defenders away and we've overloaded the formation, and this guy is being schemed to be open. Versus Zach Taylor, where it's Jamar Chase is faster than people. He needs to beat his man off the line of scrimmage and go deep. And then once he's covered, he's going to have to win at the top point of the out jump the defender and win at the high point of the ball. And that's how we're going to win right there. And I guess they both score touchdowns, but one just seems way more. I think you can repeat that more often. Like,
it is funny because at the same time you go, well, then what's the point of Jamar Chase if you can't just tell him to go out there and beat everybody?
But like, how much better would Jamar Chase be if you took like some effort to get him open?
I agree with you. But like, this is like, the Belichick Brady offense of like making every white guy wide receiver from a D3 college look like an all pro versus like the one time they got Randy Moss. It was
and
like,
they looked like they were going to break the NFL. They broke football with how good that was.
Yes.
Like, it's like you watch Brady try to throw with guys that were converted lacrosse players, and all of a sudden he gets Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and it's like, wow.
Look at him go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there is something more complicated going on here, but I'm watching Buka just walk there instead of run to Orishano, make himself available, make himself a nuisance so that one of the defenders collapsing in on Orishano might have to think for a second, oh crap, that guy's wide open right there. Maybe I take a half step towards him in case he gets the ball. Nobody is going in behind Orishano to be a potential outlet, or at least, something there. It's very funny.
Yeah.
But this is where we scored. This is the good moment.
Right. And like, it happens all the time. It's like, okay, you got to win your 1v1 here, man. And, sometimes that works. It's like, okay, you're on the sidelines. There's no option for an outlet. You got to get the ball around your guy and continue forward. And can we hire someone that just has a different idea? Like, is there someone out there that's like a young whippersnapper that's like, hey, Pat, have you tried scheming up a play? Like,
yeah, we need the brilliant tactician. We need the wonder kid Nate to come in off the training staff and be like, hey, actually guys, I got an idea.
Turns out I don't want to be too negative about it either, because like, again, we gotta draw, but it's like,
yeah. And the results are there. And it is funny that I just keep going back to this idea that like, you're probably right, Chief, but the crew didn't beat us. No. So like, is it really that much better of a system if we are not living up to this ideal and they are, and yet they can't beat us? Then I don't know how much is that ideal worth?
So what's worse? Is it getting a draw, having to hold on for dear life and walking out thinking, oh my God, we should have lost that game? Or getting a draw and absolutely battering the opponent in the second half and still not being able to score? Like, what's the more frustrating outcome for a fan base?
I don't know. And it's really funny if you look at Columbus's last 3 matches, they've had to live this multiple times. So they did this against Philadelphia, where they were the much better team most of that game, and Philly had the lead. They clawed back, and then Philly got the lead back again. It took them till the 93rd minute to actually get the winner there. And then against Montreal, a terrible soccer team
got killed by Toronto this weekend,
which again, transitive property. We should have destroyed Columbus 7-1. Montreal got an early goal out of nowhere. That game was all Columbus. A lot of the same stats that you read were also true here. The Thought Mob momentum meter barely registers that there was another team in this game, and yet it took them an hour to claw back a 1-1 draw there. So I mean, when it works really well. They beat Charlotte 4-2. Now Charlotte has gone unbeaten for quite some time in recent history here, but when I don't know. It's a lot of possession. It's a lot of passing. It's a lot of offensive movement, but for what? It's not getting them somewhere. And maybe that changes with, a very expensive designated player this summer.
Yeah, I'm terrified of that.
I will say our saving grace in this, as always, will be the Haslams. They are very poor with their money, and they don't seem to respect the Columbus crew.
Somebody's got to pay that Deshaun Watson contract off.
And that person was Cucho Hernandez. Yeah. So thank you, Cucho, for recouping some of the loss there. Which I got to say, Chief, a bone to pick about the TIFO.
Yes, it was terrible, by the way. It was a really, really bad TIFO.
It was, and we heard in the Discord, allegedly, I cannot confirm this, but they've recently appointed a new head of TIFO over at the Nordecke, and this person went to Europe unexpectedly for a couple of weeks before this, and this was their plan B artwork and all this stuff. But it talks about 7 years of dominance, which I thought was very funny because one, they have very conveniently left out the first year where we beat them as a lower division team.
Right.
So of course,
selective numbering. I approve of that.
You already have to do that. But then I'm looking back to 2024, which I assume is in the 7 years, where we beat them and then drew. I don't know that one gets to claim dominance or domination, right?
Right.
I don't know.
It's trash.
Weird.
I hope we do better because I was talking a lot of trash about it today. It was pretty. I need our guys to make sure we have a better option available.
I don't think
I do miss being president of an SG where I could see what all the TIFOs look like ahead of time. I don't get to do that anymore. It's very annoying.
Yeah, could everybody just run the TIFOs by the post? Thanks.
Yeah, somebody hit me up in the DMs. Somebody. Second half of this game was awful. And it was existential dread from start to finish. I will say that there were a couple decent counterattacks that FC Cincinnati had where I thought the funniest thing was about to happen, where it was the super against the run of play goal. Never ended up happening. But my question for you, Kevin, because we already talked about the PK, although I will say on the PK, Roman Celentano had an incredible game stopping shots.
Yes. He jumps so early.
Oh my God. The replay showed he was 2 steps the wrong direction before the shot was even taken. I think I could have made that PK on him.
If you just go a little slower than you think you want to as the kick taker, Roman will tell you what side he's going to before you get to the ball.
He may as well yell it out. I'm going right, man.
Ah, man, that was a bummer.
It's been put out there in the Discord, so I'm going to start it right now.
Please.
I love Roman. I don't want Roman to lose his starting job. I think Roman should be the starting keeper of this team. I am a Roman Celentano. I am a Roman Stanentano. I stan Roman Celentano. I need Evan to start against Dallas, just in case. We've heard he is a Lucho stopper when it comes to PKs.
He's in his mind.
He's in his mind. I need Evan to start that game just in case Lucho gets a PK opportunity.
This will come up much later, a couple of shows from now, but I was keeping an eye on this. Lucha was on 4 yellow cards. If he had managed to not get one and then get one in this weekend, he would have missed the FC Cincinnati game, but he got a yellow card for us. So he's suspended next weekend, which means
he will definitely be playing.
He kind of has to. Yeah.
So would love Roman to do a little better on that, little self-coaching, maybe stay planted to the spot a little bit. They might need to do the thing like they do in the Mighty Ducks, where they just keep taking shots at Goldberg. That might just need to happen. Like every time Roman goes early, like there's a dog collar that just shocks him or something like that.
Yes, that's exactly what needs to happen.
Yeah, which was some operant conditioning right here.
Now, Chief, I got to get this one out here.
Go for it.
Blew my mind. There is a moment in the game where Evander is dribbling the ball up the field. He is attempting a no-look pass. He passes to his left to a individual running alongside him, also wearing blue. That person was the referee, not an FC Cincinnati player.
Why are they wearing the same color as one of the teams? Why are we doing this?
Should be illegal. They have lots of colors to pick from. The referee should have worn
quite literally an entire rainbow of colors.
Should have worn pink. Should have worn purple, something that the red, something that the keepers were not wearing. It is my understanding that it goes home team picks, away team picks, home goalkeeper picks a color that the other two have not picked, away goalkeeper picks a color that has not picked by either three, and then the referee picks essentially the remaining fifth color.
The third team, Kevin. We refer to them as the third team.
The third team picks the fifth and final remaining color.
What is it with FC Cincinnati? Insane. Like this is the second. We've done this before. The ref has been a defender in one match. That's been other times. Like, I'm so sick of this. Get out of the way. What are we doing here?
They want to be a part of it.
They want to play so badly. It
brings me to this, Chief. That is my LASIK moment of the match. Not to hand it to ISIS, there isn't really an egregious call that stands out to me, but maybe the most egregious call was the outfit that they picked. So in order to fix this, both for the referee and for you at home, listener, you can head on over to LASIK.com/ThePostCincy for $1,100 off your eye surgery, your corrective eye surgery. If you use that link, that is a really good deal. Quite literally the second best deal in soccer podcasts right now in the city of Cincinnati. $1,100 off. LASIK.com/ThePostCincy. Cincinnati is a sort of LASIK mecca, as they say. So you are in good hands here in Cincinnati getting that surgery done. And it's a free consultation. So, if you're on the fence, you're thinking about it, hear them out, see what they got to say. So you can go to LASIK.com/ThePostCincy to check that out. So, Chief, you talk about the second half and how the second half was awful. I want to ask this question to you.
Go for it.
Was it awful, or did it go according to plan? And I know that sounds stupid, but the plan, I think, was to bunker down, settle in, if not, see out the 1-0 victory, see out the 1-1 draw, and that was going to be absorb a shit ton of pressure, and if we get a lucky one on a break, so be it.
I'm going to put this as diplomatically as possible.
Please.
If the plan against a rival was to bunker and play for a 1-goal lead after you invested $30 million in the offense this past offseason, if I'm the owner of this club, I'm taking the elevator down from my very high-priced suite all the way to the ground floor. I am walking from the elevator, flashing my badge at every security guard until I get to the field, and I am firing the manager on the spot. There should never be a situation where you are playing for a 1-0 win when you have $30 million invested in the attack. I'm sorry. That's small club mentality. Small clubs play for 1-0 wins. That's insane to me. And
at
yet,
halftime, at halftime, Kubo comes in for Obi, which I think is the change we wanted to see before the game, and I think made a lot of sense through the course of that game. You know, we looked pretty good in the first half, and you thought, okay, you know, maybe this Kubo swap could work. They score in the 54th minute. 62nd minute is when I feel like the plan was to bunker. Brian Anunga comes in for Sergio Santos.
Can I say it now?
I
never want to see. I never want to see him again.
I just want to preface it.
I don't. It's Brian Anunga coming into a soccer game feels like it feels like the position player pitching. It feels like we've given up. He took
a shot in this game
it was
so
one of the worst
funny.
things I've ever seen in my
life. He's on the supplemental roster, so
sure.
You know, we're not spending
I'm
that
sure
much money.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure, you know what
by all accounts he is. Yeah.
No, you know what the role for Brian Anunga is if he's going to be on this team. I want him seeing out games in like the last 10 minutes where we're up 2-1.
Yeah.
Or 3-1.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want him in games where the game is still in the balance or where the team needs, where another goal could mean more points. So that means that, like, if we're down a goal,
right,
or we're tied, I don't want Brian Anunga in games like that ever. Like, there were still 3 points to be had in this game. Like, you have Kevin Denke on the field. You are goal dangerous at all times if the ball finds itself to Kevin Denke's feet. You have Evander on the field. If you can draw a free kick anywhere around the 18-yard box, you are goal dangerous. There were still 3 points to be had in this game, and it felt like in the 62nd minute, Pat Noonan waved the white flag. And I don't know why. I don't know why.
I understand pulling Santos. He was becoming less effective as the game went on. It's a meme at this point, but Dado makes a lot of sense as the Sergio Santos sub. It's like for like, it's still offense. Dado, sneaky defensive work rate on him, by the way. If you look at the stats,
he's got a motor on him, man. He's like, you remember what you could do when you were 20 years old?
Right. So here's the thing with that. So he plays and starts the midweek and he goes 80 minutes or whatever. Was it a fitness thing? Like, why was he not going to appear in this game? Kai Kamara appears in this game. Now, short stints, but the travel weighs on you. He had not been playing professionally regularly for a couple of months leading up to this. I just think it's interesting that Dado didn't get in when we maybe could have had that, which again just kind of goes back to the conservative approach to this game. At the same time, not everybody gets to walk away with a point out of lower.com field. It's all over the place. Chief, I realized this only after the game. Do you know how many subs the Columbus Crew made in this game? Just one.
Which is insane because they also played midweek. And the first half of this game was played at a breakneck speed. Like it was end-to-end soccer. It was not for the faint of cardio, for certain. But then again, I mean, in the second half, it's not like they were expending a ton of energy defending. Like everyone always says that it takes more energy to defend than it does to play out with the ball.
Right.
And they had a metric shitload of the ball in the second half. It's tough that the substitutes in this game from FC Cincinnati. Kubo, I liked it, but then he's only in the midfield for a grand total of maybe 15 minutes, 14 minutes. And then as soon as Anunga comes in, he becomes the de facto second striker, but dropping deeper to help defend. So he's not helping in the midfield then as much at that point. Next substitute is DeAndre Yedlin, which again is an offense for defense substitution. Now, at that point in the game, 79th minute, you're definitely committed to just seeing the game out for a point at that moment.
Sure.
But again, they get a couple of attacking opportunities as the game goes along. And, Kubo leads at least one odd man break where the ball finds itself at the feet of, I forget who it was, but there was at least one or two attacking opportunities there. And I don't know. You think you want to think that if like this is truly a matchup of two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference and two teams that you would expect to see potentially as a rematch in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Don't you think the second half should have been at least a little more even? That's not a little bit more of an alarm bell to you that this was just like a hold on and pray? And the other thing too is, do you think if this game was at TQL Stadium that it would have been any different? I mean, maybe a little, but like, I don't know that I love hold on and pray when you're also a great team too, allegedly.
Yeah. And yet.
And yet they got the point. They got the point. Road points are hard. Road points are really, really hard. I get that. They
go 7 days, 3 games, 2 wins and a draw. It's funny, but this team continues to rack up the results. And we'll see where this goes from here. I think we learned some things. I'll tell you, Chief, if there is, and I truly think if this is the roster, we have a chance to have a good, successful season, and silverware is absolutely not out of the question. Name your trophy here, Leagues Cup.
All right, so is silverware not out of the question, or is silverware still the expectation?
Ooh,
I know what Grayson would say to that. What do you?
I think it's the expectation. I mean, this team is tied for first in the East right now and is on a 65 to 70 point pace. Like Supporter Shield, MLS Cup, Leagues Cup are all very much on the table, and getting some piece of silverware here is certainly the expectation. I don't care where it comes from, but it's the expectation. And so I think if this is the roster, and we can get that done. I have no doubts. That being said, if I was being a little greedy, I would say a U22 midfielder would hit so hard in this team right now. I don't need him to be great. I need like a Gilberto Flores level player in the midfield, which granted he's been fantastic.
Gilberto level Flores player in the midfield might start like immediately.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So no pressure, but if you can get us a guy that is able to do that, even a data level guy, maybe not necessarily even from a talent perspective, but from a profile of player and guy that you trust to start at those times that you would trust data to start, I think this team could hit another level, because that does seem to be what they're missing. Anunga and Obi are just not able to provide that offensive spark. Kubo's able to do it a little bit. I want to see what somebody else looks like right there. But like I said, if it doesn't come, I think that this team is still set up for success.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I'm happy with the point. Like I'm just, if you told me we were going to go into this game and get a point, the outcome is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like I think road point in the Derby match is a great thing. It's not as great as going in there and beating them like we did last year, which was really just tremendously keen.
Yeah.
But road point is fine on this. I just think that, the alarm bells are still there a little bit about where this team is. I thought they looked really good in the game last weekend that they played on Saturday when they were back home. I thought that was like, that seemed like something that was way more repeatable against Austin when we watched that. Toronto, it was fine. Like they could have scored more.
Rotated, but
it was rotated. They could have scored more goals than they really did. This one, again, you don't love how badly they were outpossessed. You don't love how many more ideas it seemed like Columbus had than they did.
Yeah.
And you start to wonder a little bit, okay, the table is it looks good on the table, tied, with Philadelphia on points at the top of the Supporter Shield race since Vancouver drew, and they're only on 28. We're on 29. But we haven't beaten anyone that matters. Like the only team we've beaten that's even remotely close to good is Nashville. Everyone else has been a mid or a bottom table team. We have struggled mightily with the teams that are at the top of the table that we've played. Specifically, Philadelphia beat the brakes off us.
Now, I will offer you this little piece as well. Columbus Crew, their best win this season, depending on how you look at it, either a 2-1 victory over LAFC in the CONCACAF Champions Cup in a two-legged affair that they did not advance out of, by the way. They were losing 3-0 going into that one. Or maybe the 4-2 victory over Charlotte is their best win.
Charlotte's been fading fast, too.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
After that, I mean, they lost to Miami. They drew NYCFC. They drew San Diego. They drew Philadelphia. Like, they're not necessarily setting the world on fire either.
No. They also don't have their big signing yet either. They sold their best player and didn't make the replacement signing that they were all expecting. So we're the team that should be more complete right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I said, Rorschach test on
it
this.
Is.
On
no,
this
it
game.
is. It is. And there are some players like lest it be all negative. I don't think I'm being negative. I think I'm being realistic a little bit about what I saw. I think that there was some tremendous good on this team too. We've talked superlatively about Kevin Denke, unbelievable talent, runs everywhere. His hold-up play is so good. And I didn't expect that was going to be a tool that he had before we signed him. So he's good with the ball at his feet, as we saw last week or in the Toronto game. He is phenomenal with his hold-up play. He is just the total package. The other people who deserve a shout in this are the back line. Miazga, Miles, and Nick Hagglund. Nick Hagglund deserves no criticism for what happened. I'm sorry. It was an incredible fluke. When you have to defend, again, over 200 passes in the final third, someone is bound to get hit with the unlucky bounce and hit the unlucky lottery on this. And I will tolerate no Nick Hagglund slander on this podcast. Matt Miazga, great. I think he got beaten on one run the entire game. The rest of it was solid, blocking shots, taking away passes, taking away crosses, erasing set pieces. Miles Robinson, great game. The back line played, just out of their minds well. Luka, I thought Luka Orishano put in a hell of a shift too. I thought he was goal dangerous. He was running. He sets up the one goal that we have. My only real criticism of the wingback play is, where were the big switches of play that we saw against Austin? Where were the attempts to switch the point of attack, the long balls over the top, the passes from left to right to quickly get the defense out of shape? I thought that was tremendously effective against Austin. They didn't even try but more than one of those in this entire match. I would have liked to have seen a lot more of that. I don't think it was Engel's best game that he's put on film as a member of FC Cincinnati. I don't think it's one he's going to want to remember. I don't think it's one that Evander is going to want to remember particularly either. But but the back line, a ton of kudos to the back line in this game.
Yep. I wouldn't mind seeing what it looks like with Yedlin on the left and Orishano on the right. Just throw that out there. I don't know where this came from. The angle is 100% nailed on, unmovable in this lineup, but that does seem to be the case. But I don't know. We've seen Yedlin play on the left before. I just want to know what it feels like. Chief, I think that'll do it for the game itself. I have a quote from Pat Noonan, though, that I think is really good. And I think you will appreciate this and agree with this. So I'll be curious to get your thoughts here.
Hit me.
And here it is. Pat Noonan says, it makes no, and this is courtesy, by the way, of Damon Gumbert, who was able to join the post-match press conference here. Pat Noonan says, it makes no sense in reference to rivalry games taking place on a short week. And that's the result tonight, and how we performed has nothing to, we could have been so much better. But if you're going to look at the schedule and say that these are the most important games on the calendar, what are we doing that on the back end of a 3-game week with all these rivalry matches? It's not just FC Cincinnati versus Columbus. Guys gave everything, but you'd like to have it on a full week where maybe it's even more intense. And also the buildup how we talk about it over the course of the week. As this was such a quick turnaround that it was, we couldn't talk about Columbus until Thursday. Nobody was talking about this game until we finished our Toronto game. And so, yeah, I think it took away a little bit of steam of the excitement and the buildup of it for everybody that was playing in a rivalry match tonight. But that's something I think should be pretty straightforward as far as all the big matches. Whatever we think are key matches over the course of the year, let's make sure everybody's fresh and there's the right buildup to these matches. So that's my take on it again. They were better than us, so it didn't affect them clearly. And maybe it affected us, but that's my thoughts. The short week, the midweek game before Heineken Week presented by Heineken Rivalry Week. Where we have this stupid trip to Canada in the middle, and now we got 8 days before we go play Atlanta. Why couldn't the Toronto game happen before Atlanta?
I mean, Pat's right. There's no reason that if you want to have rivalries in this league and you want to make rivalry week a thing,
yes.
Look, if you're spreading the rivalries around the schedule, fine. You're going to have some of them that just end up naturally ahead of midweek matches. But if you're going to have a rivalry week, why in God's name are you playing midweek games that just completely disrupt the narrative? Like, of course, no team wants to talk about its rivalry game before, another game. That's like that's sports 101. We're not looking past this midweek game. Toronto is going to be a very difficult opponent. Like, you have to say that.
Yes.
And so what little media covers this league won't be able to get players and coaches talking about the big game this weekend because we've got to pretend we're focused on the midweek game against Toronto. Like, it's so stupid.
It affected how we covered it. I mean, not to make this about us, but
make it about us. Make it about us.
Like, fan media outlets are the only ones that are actually covering this league. And then two, like, we were looking at this week and trying to figure out what the hell we were going to do. And it didn't make any sense. We were away on Wednesday. We weren't going to record a Hell is Real preview episode before that game. Certainly not during the game. We kind of want to watch our favorite team. And so when we do a post-game thing where we tried to do like a live call-in thing, they're going to be about Toronto.
Right.
Like,
the game we just watched. No one wants to start thinking about the other game.
And I haven't even had a chance, like, by the time we're doing that show, to go watch the Columbus game against Montreal to see, like, what happened. Who did they sit? How did they rotate? Right. So it makes it very difficult to do it that way. And last year, I love the build up to Hell is Real. I love posting all sorts of stupid memes. I love getting in fights online. It's a good time. It's a good time to, like, invigorate the rivalry with a little spirit, and just couldn't do that.
Yeah, you had 48 hours to have a rivalry, build up. It was, Thursday and Friday, and that was it. No, it's stupid. I do like Pat not willing to, he's thinking about this in real time. Like, I can't claim that this impacted us because both teams had to play, but I want to say that it impacted us, and I want to use this as an excuse, but I know that no one's going to buy this as an excuse. And so in real time, he's working through exactly how much he can make an excuse out of this. And I just, that's so relatable to me.
Yeah, I like that. He's like, look, I'm not making any excuses.
I'm not making any excuses. Many people are making excuses. I'm not going to make the excuse.
But isn't it interesting?
I've heard people making the excuse. They say if you play a midweek game, it can make things more difficult. But I'm not saying that.
Back when MLS only had 10 teams and Pat Noonan was playing in this.
Back when Kai Kamara first came into the league and there was 12 teams,
it was a lot easier to not do the midweek games.
Kai Kamara has now played for more teams than existed at the start of his career.
That's so good.
That's so funny.
We should loan him to another MLS team just for like a game, just to help get more teams under his belt.
I don't know. I want to see more Kai Kamara. Like, that's an unsung takeaway from last night is that I love Sergio Santos' energy. He's not fast anymore. Kai Kamara, when he's on the field, there's a little bit of it. There's a little bit of aura, as the kids say.
I think he moved up my personal striker depth chart over Santos.
I want to see more. I'm sports entertained. I still wish Dotto would have started this game. I still think that's the play. I think
or at least
there's a force connection between him and Evander that I need to see more of. Like there was a moment in the match earlier where Evander played a ball to the back post and no one went to get it.
Yes.
And all I could think of in that moment was Dotto goes and gets that. Dotto is there because Dotto and Evander are on the same brainwave, and that would have been in the back of the net if Dotto's on the field.
Love it.
You've converted me on this, Kevin. I hate what you've done to me here.
He's just so dynamic.
Yeah. I weep for what we didn't see.
I know. Well, Chief, I think that's going to do it for Hell is Real. Let's move over to part 2. We got a couple of Patreon questions. Feels like it's been forever since we've done some Patreon questions.
There's so much to talk about. God.
I know. Let's ask a handful of them here in part 2. All right, we are back, and we're here with Patreon questions from our patrons. That's right. If you too spend literally $2 a month, you get to ask us a question. It appears on the podcast. You will also get to hear the audio from the live show at Streetside.
And we should mention, thank you to everyone who showed up at the live show.
Yes.
I am forever blown away whenever we do one of these events and people show up to listen to us talk. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you are listening to this for the first time as a result of being at the live show, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that someone has made you listen to this. But no, it's awesome. It's really, really cool. And I promise we'll force Grayson to do more of these going forward.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I had fun coming up with overly complicated trivia games. So
right, I've got a great game we were talking about for the next live show that we do that I'm very excited to try out. It's much less complicated than what Kevin had, and I think it'll be just as good.
Yes. So there you go. Well, for the folks who did ask a question, we have Brandon Gregory who asks, and Chief, I get to ask this right now because I don't think anything has changed. Nothing has changed since Brandon asked this 2 weeks ago.
Oh boy.
Who said, just noticed LA Galaxy still have not won a match this season.
That's trending to continue based on the scoreline of El Tráfico right in front of me here.
I think the LA Galaxy sold their soul to The Rock. Would you take MLS Cup even if you were told you were not winning any matches the following season? I
mean, if they sold their soul to The Rock, that means it's worked for both John Cena and LA Galaxy. So you got to respect that, The Rock's power to do that. This is tough. You know what? Flags fly forever. Yeah, I'll take it.
Oh, you take it now. I think once you're in the midst of it or you're 60% of the way through with it, you go, maybe 2 like conference finals weren't that bad.
No, so here's the deal. If you're LA, I would not take that deal. They've won multiple MLS Cups before. They've won multiple trophies before. Us, first star over the badge? Yeah, 1,000 times out of 1,000. You're a team like St. Louis, no trophies? Absolutely. You take that 1,000 times out of 1,000. Austin, any of these other teams like that? Yeah, give it to me. But if you've won it a bunch of times or you've got a lot of trophies in MLS, no, not at all. Like consistency is what you're looking for at that point.
Yeah. Seattle Sounders don't take this deal. Philadelphia probably doesn't take this deal. Chicago might take this deal. DC probably, right now DC would absolutely
DC's already there. Like that's the other thing too. It's like Montreal, it's like we're getting this deal. We just didn't have MLS Cup. We didn't get the star. Like,
well, and that's kind of how I feel too with the spoon years with Cincinnati. It's like, no. We earned the goodness right now. Like we did make this deal with the devil.
Right.
or with the Rock,
You'll never believe who just checked into El Tráfico.
Please.
Our young son, Frankie Amaya.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at him go.
I can't believe he's going to win this game. I don't wish good things for him.
Hopefully he gives up an own goal. It makes it interesting.
Be awesome. Yeah, I'd take the deal. Yes.
Yeah. There you go. I think I would too.
Rock, if you're listening, I can be bought.
Not The Rock, but Brock.
Ooh, good follow up here.
He asks, what would an audit reveal about the post-Cincy? This is very funny because I'm the only one that has access to any of the finances.
What would it reveal about the post-Cincy is that the low budget content you enjoy is in fact low budget.
You're never going to believe this, guys, but nobody's getting rich.
You're never gonna believe this, but like, yeah, no, it's not lucrative to operate a podcast that's done by 3 people as a hobby.
I think somebody more cynical would say, I'm probably not taking enough tax exemptions. Like, I did not do the silly little, like, the square footage of my home office counts as the business workplace of the Post, and therefore that's tax exempt or is eligible for whatever.
Right.
I just sort of tack it onto my income and call it a day. Pay a couple extra bucks.
If you want to help us start to have something worth auditing and you own a business, consider supporting.
Yeah, there you go.
Consider buying ad space on the Cincy Postcast, or if you know someone if you run a national brand of some sort and want to sponsor the World's Gam, please, by all means. I am so desperate to quit and do this full time. I'm kidding. I like being a lawyer too much.
Yeah. Maybe we could get sued a lot as a podcast.
That'd be great. Yeah. We can let some hotter takes right here.
Old Ken Brew recommended I charge onto the field and demand questions of Pat Noonan. So maybe in need of a defense attorney.
I'm going to throw it out there. Sometimes he doesn't have the best life advice or career advice.
Let's see. Oh, this one goes at both of us, Chief.
Oh, dear.
Scott Wilson asks, in the outro, which in fairness, I have not updated, I think, in 2 years. In the outro, Kevin mentioned how you were trying to put more out on YouTube.
Yeah, we were trying for a little bit, weren't we?
But it's been a while since we've seen a Chief Basement News segment. With the start of another podcast, is YouTube still a part of your goals/plans? How many more Patreon dollars would it take to get Chief back in front of a camera?
Oh, man. Well, stay tuned. I think Away Days is going to drop the first week of June. Only about a year late on that one. You can thank video burnout from running a political campaign in November for that. I would love to do more video. The problem is that we're only 66% in favor of appearing on camera. We have one member of the podcast that's incredibly camera shy.
I will say, too, video adds a level of complexity that I think I would like to have an editor to have as timely video content. Like, there's certainly the option of, and so a further peek behind the curtain, we record these podcasts via Zoom, and then everybody records their own local audio track on as good of audio quality as they can get. I use the Zoom audio as a backup and as a way to sync everybody's audio. But as a part of that, we do in fact record the video portion of the podcast, but I don't use it. Now, a very lazy podcast might just rip all of this, post it online, and then boom, you've got YouTube video podcast ready to go. But the second I want to start taking out some ums or some awkward pauses, or maybe where we talk over each other, then I've got to start editing the video file, and it takes forever for it to upload. And then I want to make the video look nice, and then you got to put graphics, and it just turns into a whole time suck where I don't want to do that.
So I did quite an extensive amount of video editing and shooting professionally last year. That's all been scrubbed from the internet now, thanks to the miracle of losing an election. But
you never existed.
I didn't. No, just the check. But video editing is really hard. It's very time consuming. If you've ever done it, shooting video professionally is also time consuming. I have all the equipment to do it, but also it's like the thing about video is once you get into doing it a little bit, and this is where, like, I think I could be better at it if I just cared a little bit less. But I'm also, once I start doing it like you, it's, well, that doesn't look great, or that doesn't sync up, or that's not awesome. So you spend way more time getting a finished product that 100 people watch than, like, if you go back and watch some of those basement news videos I did, they're all one take because I didn't want to like have those awkward edits of, you know, and like there's ways that people hide them where like you change the zoom a little bit to make it look like you're not just splicing footage from like over and over again. But like it's really hard to do all one take of like an 8-minute video without like stuttering or forgetting what you're talking about.
Well, and the thing is, too, like part of it is like there's only so much FC Cincinnati news, right? Like the most interesting FC Cincinnati news right now is that Obi signed a contract extension, like, and then the games, obviously, which we cover on the podcast. So it's hard to do like weekly hits on that. And then you throw in there that we did start an MLS podcast, which is where a lot of the content was coming from. But like, if you wanted something timely, you got to not only shoot it and then edit it and then post it quickly. The time and like when you post it also matters. So let's say you record it all on Tuesday night. Well, it might all change by Wednesday.
Or if you have a Wednesday game, then all of a sudden nobody wants to watch that content. We got a new game to watch.
Exactly. So it makes it tricky. So you got to be fast.
Won't someone think about the content creators here? It's such a hard life right here. No, all right, here's the deal. If you have ideas for things that you would want us to be doing video wise or otherwise, throw it in the Discord and the ideas or, you know, on one of the channels there. I'm not saying I'll do it, but like half the idea is also somebody coming up with a better idea than what I'm doing. So.
Well, yeah, and also, like, I don't know what people would want, right? Like, we could do, like, a top 10 all-time FC Cincinnati players. And, like, you could do, like, some of these silly things, like, once a week or whatever. But,
you know what the dream would be here, really? Ooh. The dream would be if we got, like, a whale sponsorship thing, and we could just employ Jonah full-time to do this.
That's actually the actual dream.
Answer. That's the answer.
So the answer to your question, Scott, is, I don't know, $100,000 would probably cover salary and benefits to pull Jonah out of his stable job right now.
Yeah. Because like when it comes to video content, like everything that is my favorite FC Cincinnati video content has all been created by Jonah. Like every piece of it is Jonah.
Yes.
Like to this day, I still go back and watch his interview that he shot where it was Joseph Mamay at a Pride scarf release party.
Joey on the street.
Mamay on the street, where he's just like, oh, what a move. What a goal. Wow. Oh, man. LA Galaxy might take a point out of this. That was awesome.
Oh,
baby. It will already have happened by the time you listen to this, but the 77th minute goal or 78th minute goal that the LA Galaxy just scored was awesome. But no, the Joey on the streets interviews were just gold. And that's the answer, is just find a way for us to hire Jonah away from his full-time job.
I love it. I will wrap us up probably with this one, because I always feel like people get shortchanged when they don't get all three of us here. KP asks...
Oh, he might be off. Ooh.
Oh, please. I need them to suffer.
To keep losing, he might be off there. That's really close.
KP asks, how do you follow a league? NHL, NWSL, NBA, WNBA, PWHL, etc. when you don't have a team? ?
That's really hard, actually. And if you find out the answer to that question, I need you to, call New York and ask to speak to Don Garber, because they don't have great grass lines here. He's off, I'm going to say.
Oh.
Again, you'll know the answer to this question by the time you listen to this. I
got to be honest with you, KP. My answer is
you don't.
I don't. Yeah. I just have no interest or connection to like the NBA. Like what I do with the NBA is always very funny. I watch generally 1 to 3 NBA games a year, and it is always the final game or a deciding game of the NBA finals. That's the only game I will watch.
What you really need, the real answer to this is you need to pick a team, and you just need to pick a team, and you just need to say, this is my team. And then the thing is once you pick your team, you have to commit to following this team as if you were, living in the city. And what that means is if you're going to follow an NHL team, you have got to this is the clearest shot I've ever seen of a ref at the VAR thing. You can like actually see the monitor almost. It looks like the monitor is superimposed by a green screen right here. It's quality coverage right here. This is going to get overturned. But what you have to do is you have to pick a team, and then you have to subscribe to the league pass. So you have to buy the NHL league pass or buy the NBA league pass or whatever it is. And you got to watch all the games. You can't like be, I am a fan of the Washington Capitals, but then you never watch them play, because inevitably if you do that, you're not going to get into it. Yep. Like you're not going to really, really consider that like you are, living and dying. You're not going to be up with the team. You've got to commit to it.
Oh, and you'll also probably accidentally do this thing where you'll tell everybody, yeah, I'm a Capitals fan. Yeah, I love Capitals. Yeah, they're good. But you're not really following that hard. And then like 3 years from now, like some story from like the Kings is going to really grab you. And you're like, shit, I might be a Kings fan now.
Right.
Like, I can't go back.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Yep, offsides. That's tough.
Oh, no, the backbreaker. Galaxy finding new ways to lose. Always exciting.
This is great. This is hilarious. Yeah, it's just going to be one of those seasons right there. Yeah, and you've got to and hop on at the start of a year. Pick your team at the start of a year and go through it, or pick your team at the start of a playoffs for the NHL and the NBA, and then continue over into the next season with your team. It helps if you pick a team that's decent, because following a bad team, you're going to you have enough misery in your life. You don't need to add being, a Chicago Bulls fan to the list too.
Right.
But it's hard. Like, not like, unless you have some sort of a personal connection that makes you want to be a fan of the team, it's always going to be a lot harder. And I say this as being an out of market fan for the NFL. You've got to make an effort to find the games from your favorite team. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's worth it. It's worth it though, because the NHL is a lot of fun, honestly.
Oh yeah, no. And to that point, Chief, like I got a buddy who is a big Eagles fan, and at the start of every NFL season, he like sits down with me. He's like, "All right, so like which streaming platforms do I need to watch the games?"
The answer for the NFL is a lot.
Yeah. God forbid your team ends up on the Netflix Christmas game and then the Thursday night game on Amazon. And if you're out of market, you're not getting those games. So
see, I'm gonna pickle right here with that, because as a lifelong Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, I have watched just about every Bucs game at the bar near my house, RP McMurphy's, that recently fired all of my favorite people that work there, including the manager who I've known since I was in college. So now I'm boycotting that, and I need to find a new spot to watch the Bucs play at. And it's really annoying that I can't just like go walk to a place showing my games.
Chief, this is where you start like the Cincy Bucks, the Buckeyes. See, come on.
No.
And it's like a Tampa Bay Buccaneers thing.
Yeah, I've already started a supporters group. I don't want to do that again. That was too much work.
This should be way lower stakes. And at worst, you might get like free tickets to a Buccaneers game because they like
NFL superfans are like a weird breed. I don't know that I want to do that.
It is funny how it's so different, right? Like when I think of NFL superfan, I think of like that guy in Denver that wore a barrel to games.
Or the
like,
dude,
I'm the barrel guy.
Right. Or the Chiefsaholic that was robbing banks in order to pay for tickets.
Oh my God. That's the Jets guy. He yells Jets. Like, oh my God.
Or there was the Jets guy that was the fireman Ed that retired from being a super fan because he couldn't stand how badly the Jets were being run. It's like, man, that's your whole identity. You are no one if you're not fireman Ed.
Also, you lose all fan cred if you quit when the team's bad. Come on.
You know what's funny too is that they don't have that in MLS, thank God. Like you have the supporters section. There's enough drama in the supporters section to fill an off-Broadway act, believe me. But you don't have the super fan characters where it's you know, the Bengals stormtrooper guy or Fireman Ed or name your you know, your Chiefsaholic or name your person fan thing. I'm very happy that's not a thing in MLS. Please keep it that way.
I always look at those people suspiciously, and maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe that's something I need to work on. But whenever I see that, I go, "What are you doing?"
Right.
what is your deal?
Surely there's some other choices you could have made in life beyond this right here. I don't know.
Hey, I know all of these people paid lots of money to watch this other thing, but I think some of them might want to watch me too.
Right. Nothing beats like going to a sporting event and also having like a 7-hour dress up routine to get your costume looking just right.
You don't understand. Look insane.
Yeah, there's no face paint guys in MLS, and for that I'm endlessly grateful.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, Chief, I think that's going to do it for a Graysonless Hell is Real. One last thing. At the beginning of the season, me, you, and Jonah sat down and predicted the entire season.
Yes.
Through 14 games, we predicted 29 points. FC Cincinnati has 29 points.
God, we know so much ball.
We did project up to this point. I did the math on it. A plus 12 goal differential. Team's at plus 4.
Yeah, so we're not doing so great on that one.
Not doing that so much. But there you go. We thought we'd be here.
Yeah, and we're still we are far better than LA Galaxy right now. That's the important part.
Yes.
Where our rivalry went so much better. And now we are just one home win away in Hell is Real from capturing a second straight season. Kevin, how do you feel about that?
Excited and confident. We got this.
Yeah,
we got this.
Well, fuck Columbus.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Cincy Postcast. It is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out at thepostcincy.com or just click a link in the description to check out some of our written work. It also has links to our social media accounts across all sorts of different platforms, including YouTube, where we are trying to do more and more video content. Please, dare I say it, like and subscribe and leave a comment. But no, that would be really, really helpful. I also want to give a thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers. They're a local Cincinnati band who provided all of the music for this episode. We love having them on board. You can check them out. Again, link in the description of this episode to find out where they might be playing shows next or where you can listen to more of their music. Also want to give a massive, massive thank you to the awesome and very attractive patrons over on Patreon. It is a voluntary subscription that people take out with no real promise of anything extra that keep this show afloat. And we are so, so thankful to those of you that have decided to take that commitment. If you do like the show, or at least just want to engage with other people who have listened to the show and want to talk about FC Cincinnati, MLS, soccer, or really anything else, you can go on over to Discord. Again, link in the description. Lots of links in the description where you can find a link to the Discord. That's where we are keeping the conversation going 24/7. It feels like it's a really fun group of people in there just talking about FC Cincinnati. And like I said, just about everything else. And finally, I'll say it. If you liked this episode, and given the fact that you've made it all the way to the end, I have to assume you either like it or for some reason cannot reach the stop button. Please share this episode with a friend or family member or someone who likes FC Cincinnati. The best way for us to grow is from a personal recommendation from somebody who likes it. And if that's you, please tell other people. And if you don't have any friends, feel free to give us a review on whatever your podcast platform of choice is. We'll take anything we can get. But again, a huge thank you to everybody for listening to this show. I am blown away that anybody listens to this. So again, I well and truly mean this. Thank you so much for listening.